Well, we're all back once again. It's a nice little Friday morning here. It's nice and bright and sunny outside, for fuck's sake. And Steven is not here for one day. Holy shit, man. What is actually going on? Elsa says he heard my rant and he left. I don't know. Maybe he finally gave up on Dogecoin. But we need to pour one out for Steven, man, because he is an unsung hero of this market, holding on to dog shit dog coins for far too long, and perhaps now he has thrown in the towel. So we lament indeed. And let's look at Dogecoin. Just start this one off because, well, why not, man? It's got to be a good tribute. It's got to be a good omission. Sorry, not omission, obituary is what I meant to say. Jesus, man. Anyways, yeah, I mean, Dogecoin did hit our 15-cent target, and it ain't looking too hot. We got another 2-week time frame actually closing later this weekend for spot, and of course, CME is gonna be closing the 2-week later tonight, so that will very likely be where things settle by Sunday, of course. But short-term trends? What are you talking about? You're talking about the transportation market, because we actually could look at that. It used to always throw me for a loop when my mentor would say something about the trans market. I'm like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, transportation, son. Figure it out, motherfucker. Brandon Jean says, hey, I'm still here. What's up, man? How you doing? Maybe that is Steven's new name. Perhaps, we may never know. What's up, Shipwreck? Good morning to you. Cosmic L, how you doing? Mike's Mind and Matter. And Albert Frontier. Gallo, good morning to you, sir. Indeed, we have to start with Dogecoin. Of course, we have to. How can we not at this point? It is just a tradition. As you can see, Ziggy Henry, Mr. Faust, Lamacello Azul. What's up, man? Good morning to you. Erica Krown, Crypto Cave, Weebly 420, Alex Wells. Who else we got here? Killer Daves. Can we get an all-time likes on the channel? Don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate that, man. All good. Yeah, I for the past I think for the past year and a half, I've completely forgotten to remind, hey, if you find this content valuable, consider liking and subscribing. I need to get like some sort of a soundboard thing that just says it, so I don't need to remember that. Or we can just forget it after all. I mean, who the fuck cares? Look, if you want to subscribe. If you want to like the video, like the video. If I need to remind you, then perhaps you didn't like it that much. And that's fine. That's okay. You are entitled to your own opinions. Eating from Lithuanians? Yes. You're not actually entitled to your own opinions. That's some bullshit. Haha. Just a joke there. Anyways, more on that later. This has been watching over on X. Yeah, man. We also are live on X as well, except I don't have the X chat, unfortunately. I've actually deleted X from my life. I only post now. I do not look at any X, because honestly it was just driving me fucking insane and making me miserable, so I decided to put it down, and now I just post and ghost. I post and ghost. That's the way to do it, man. James Hick, good morning to you, man. All the Lithuanians in the house. Yeah, Lithuania, we should have gone there when we were living around there, but I think I've seen a couple of videos in Lithuania. The old town there, as always, looks pretty awesome. I'm as always in love with the old towns for all these European states. I even lived in the old town in Estonia for a little bit of time, for a few months. It was awesome. It was really old, but it was also really awesome. Anyways, few more. X is the cesspool, says get with the hype. I mean, it is, but it's also like, it really is so fucking addicting, man. It's actually insane how attuned those algos are to just suck you in. And, at one point I was just finding myself mindlessly scrolling them at night, and I'm not even looking for information. I'm just like seeing other people's opinions, and I probably shouldn't know their opinions. I probably shouldn't care about their opinions. It just makes you think, it's just like the news. It makes you think that every fucking issue in the world is yours. And I mean, yeah, there are issues and they do exist, but at the end of the day, it's like, I can't care about all the things that are half the world away from here, because I can't influence that directly, unfortunately. So it is wasted energy at this exact moment. Anyways, I shall finish off the rest of this caffeine here. She is trained surfer from Lithuania. Wait, what? What does that mean? What does that even mean? You need to go to Poland? Actually, I would have loved to have gone to Poland. I've definitely seen pictures and videos from Krakow. The city that starts with a K. That place looks pretty awesome as well. Krakow, yeah, that's the one. Opinions of lobotomized, yeah. But the problem is, it makes you lobotomized as well. Like, I was getting a lobotomization, I'm sure, as well. It works both ways, of course. And then also the other problem with fucking Twitter is that it's really deceiving with like what engagement is actually real engagement when you're even reading these posts from big influencers or creators. because so much of it is just fucking bot farms from like, you know, India or Pakistan or these sort of places. And, you know, they're politically motivated as well. And they're just trying to paint a super vivid picture of like something that probably isn't true being true just by showing, you know, social support for it. And it's really deceiving, man. There was something that Elon was going to do with X that I thought would have been a really cool idea and probably could have helped with this. I don't know if he's still going to do it or not, but basically it was going to show the sort of origin of every account, because someone was actually going around and like exposing a lot of these big accounts that were, you know, super far left or super far right, and then you'd find out where their origin is, and they're all from like fucking Pakistan or some shit, or Russia, of course, as well, but a lot of them from Pakistan for whatever reason. And it just becomes very, very apparent that all of this stuff is fucking fake, man. All of these opinions are fake. All of the support for it is fake as well. But it looks like, if you don't do research into it, then it looks like a shit ton of people support these things, and that makes you think that it's true because, you know, it's social proofing, right? So yeah, man. Anyways, what movies are you planning to watch over the holidays? Oh man, I can tell you that exactly right now. So for this holiday season coming up, we're going to watch the full Harry Potter series, of course. And then we are also, that's like Elsa's favorite. And then we're going to watch the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition and also the Hobbit Extended Edition as well. I fucking love that, man. I watch that every year, probably even multiple times a year, and it is that good. I probably need to reread the book. So it's been about a year and a half since I've read the books for the last time. I lost money. Krown was wrong again. What are you talking about, sir? I've been telling this whole fucking place. Price is coming down for the past few weeks to $99,000, probably a bounce after that, and then perhaps some more down. If you can't understand that, you're a fucking idiot. You need to get off this channel. Like, I sincerely... Oh, he might be joking. It's possible, but if he's not joking, like, I just want to plea with these people, like, leave the channel. It blows my mind, and it makes me, I don't know, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad, to be honest. Anyways, it is what it is, man. Can't go wrong with the Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It is a very classic one, or as Crypto Sharknado says, maybe we should just go watch Sharknado. I actually tried watching that the other day, man. It was not really good, to be honest. Like, I was expecting, you know, at least, you know, something more, I don't know, higher production, I guess. And it just felt like, you know, someone recorded it with a fucking cam recorder from, you know, 20 years ago. It's like, it wasn't great, man, unfortunately. Been reading the books. It's crazy how many things were omitted from the movies. Yeah, they did Faramir very dirty in the movies. They did Denethor very, very dirty in the movies. Who else? I mean, they didn't even fucking include Glorfindel, so that's kind of unfortunate, man. Yeah. And Tom Bombadil not even in the movies, but he probably shouldn't be in the movies, man. He's too difficult to understand. Like, I don't even fucking understand him, and I spend all my time reading about this shit to begin with. Anyways, go check out some traditional marks. I'm curious to see what they're looking like. In fact, we already know that they're down. We have been looking a little bit down towards $25,000 here for NASDAQ. It looks like it is just about $61 away from this morning's low from that intended area. Although I would have to extend that downwards target actually a little bit more towards officially the 55 EMA right here. Also around that last price action pivot trend line, or sorry, not trend line, but just price action pivot, which is 24,800 or so. So I think, you know, maybe another couple $100 to the downside, but still likely a bouncing coming there. Again, the biweekly is going to be closing a little bit later today. It is looking like another rejection, but again, how many times have we seen something like this on the biweekly time frame? In fact, for the past 1, 2, 3, I think 4 or 5 months since July, it's had a pretty weird sort of rhythm here where you get 1 week up, next week down, or I guess 1 week, or sorry, one period positive, next period negative. These are all 2-week periods, by the way. So 1 positive, 1 negative, 1 positive, 1 negative, 1 positive, 1 negative, 1 positive, 1 negative, or this one's positive and then this one's negative, obviously. But yeah, you get the idea. But you know, is this one going to reconnect with that red 5 EMA on the biweekly time frame? I think it's almost a foregone conclusion at this point. Should be a bounce attempt there as well. Is this going to be like the ultimate high of the market? I'm still not necessarily of that opinion. I still think that traditional markets are bullish here. I don't think that they've seen the high for this quarter just yet. But it is a corrective period, and I expect that if there is going to be any sort of upside, it comes around the old Santa rally time, as we'll, I'm sure, discuss in the upcoming month. But for right now, yeah, still a little bit more downside here, I suspect. I assume we're going to see the exact same thing on SPY futures as well. Yeah, same shit here too. You know, at least coming down to like 66.50. Maybe even goes for this low as well at 65.40-ish region. But again, it's like long term, am I bearish on this? No, I'm not bearish on this. At most, I look at this as a correction, and I do not look at this as like highs being in, like highs for the cycle being in, but a corrective period, certainly. I mean, that is, well, I mean, that's already happening. I mean, I'm not saying anything super crazy right there. Coinbase as well. I like to check in on Coinbase just because, we do expect this thing to kind of play somewhat tandem with Bitcoin, and it is coming to the bottom side of the range. So we did say it was likely at around 290 to 295. Actually hit 295 yesterday, basically opening up at 290 today. Really want to see it bounce here though, because if it does not bounce here, then that is actually a real potential shift in real trend, as you would have a lower high in the monthly and a lower low as well. So that would not be good, and does open up the doors for a move all the way down to about 250 to 260-ish region. Still would have a macro uptrend to be fair, so I'm not super concerned there. But of course, in the in the short term, that's another like 10 to 15% move to the downside. That is significant after all. Going to the quarterly here as well, it does look like it wants at least a reconnect. What else do we have to look at as far as Bitcoin corollaries go? Where are they on my list? I know that they're going to pop up right here. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. MicroStrategy down to 225. We did say that was very likely coming. I do think, however, because it is already at this prior low, the prior low from March of this year, there might be a bounce here. There very well might be a bounce here, but I do think that this one is heading lower now. You have the conditions for a reversal, verified basically. You got lower highs and lower lows. You got lower highs and same lows. Technically a lower low right now, but I'd like to see it close first. But even with that, when you have lower highs and same lows, the bias has to be on a real chance of a reversal with a lower low to follow that. And right now it is going to open up on a lower low. So that really does beg the question, if this one does fall apart, where's the next logical area of interest? It's going to be all the way down to about 150 to 160-ish region. I've heard some speculation on MicroStrategy recently. I don't know if this is true, by the way. I really have no idea if this is true. So please take this with like 50 grains of salt. But wait, what the fuck? Oh, lol. Just reading a random comment out of the side of my, please take this with a grain of salt, but I've heard, okay, and I've not verified this. I've only heard this. I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that MicroStrategy does have, or does start to come under pressure with all of the loans that they've taken on if MicroStrategy starts to come to a price point of about 180 to 185. And I do think you will see that number tested in the next, between this time and like the next few weeks. I do think that that's rather likely. So if that is true, that's going to cause at least a pretty nasty narrative sort of thing, which is probably a good, usually those are major lows to be fair, but still, if it is true, then it's a real fucking issue, because I do think you are going to see that number hit in the upcoming month, maybe month and a half, if things get drawn out a little bit longer. The real question to me is, are we going to see a bounce first before things head lower, or is it just heading lower from here? And I still think there is hopium for a little bit of a bounce. For Bitcoin, it is coming off of some pretty major moving averages here. It's very, very difficult for me to like look at things and just say, okay, yeah, it's definitely coming down another 10 to 15%. It's a little bit more easy for me to or just intuitively look at it and be like, okay, well, probably a short-term bounce. Who knows how high it gets? Maybe like 105, 106, 107 region, maybe as much as 110 if things get really, really crazy. Although even that seems like a bit of a far stretch right now. But what does seem really obvious to me is that things will come lower at some point for Bitcoin. Like this low right here at $99,000 is unlikely to hold, more long term if we fast forward like a couple months out. So again, I'd be happy to be wrong on that, but that's kind of where I'm at right now, because the higher term timeframes are still very much showing a downwards bias. It's the same shit that we've been seeing basically since the rejection at 116, which was our sort of perfect bull trap region if Bitcoin were to put in a lower high from there, which it did. So that to me was super, super, super important. And that's going to continue to drive my biases, I suspect, for at least another few weeks, maybe another few months. Maybe it could be another year if things get, if it really is like a macro high. But I'm not committing to that just yet as far as macro high or macro low. I'm just saying, hey, overall, more downside in the short term. Do we see a bounce? Maybe. As long as that bounce doesn't get you back above 116, well, doesn't really mean all that much, to be honest. Anyways, God Blood says, we're back, baby. Are we back? We're back above $100,000. Holy shit, it's going to 200,000 next. Hell yeah, man. This crypto shit isn't working. I'll try OnlyFans, says Kingslock. Yes, indeed. There's better luck in OnlyFans. I wonder what the stats are for OnlyFans, like the successful creators. I'm actually genuinely curious what it is, because I imagine most of them probably are not doing all that well. All you need is boobs. What's going to happen when fucking AIs take over all that shit? I mean, they're probably just talking to AI people anyways, and that's in that place. Is OnlyFans even is that even still a thing? Are people still into that? I don't really hear much about it anymore, to be honest. Cosmic L says, damn, you mean to tell me paying a massive premium for someone else to buy Bitcoin was a bad idea? Yeah, like, again, I've never really understood the logic behind MicroStrategy. Well, I mean, I guess I have. It's just, I also just don't think it's for me. That's why I've never touched it myself. You know, and yeah, that was kind of the issue. You are paying a premium for Bitcoin. I don't know, man. I don't know. Either which way, I don't care what the narrative is behind it. I do think that this one is going to continue to come more down. Yes, is there a bounce in between there? Perhaps yes, but ultimately, I do think that this one gets back down to like 180 at least, maybe even as far as 150. You know, if we fast forward a few months from now, something like that, man. Maybe sooner rather than later. That I don't have super strong opinions on, but, you know, that is a reversal. So have to respect that, at least in my opinion. Anyways, what else do we have here? Let's go check out some more of the traditional markets. I always love looking at traditional markets. But do we have any other Bitcoin related things? Maybe IBIT would be good to check out today, just because at some point IBIT will be the go-to chart for Bitcoin, maybe even better than CME futures. And we're not really getting anything here that we already haven't seen elsewhere. I do want to acknowledge, though, that the IBIT chart is really, really beautiful since its inception in January of 2024. It's just been a beautiful uptrend here. We'll see what that looks like in a couple of years. But yeah, when I look at IBIT, I mean, you got this same sort of long-term trend line extension here from the price action pivots. That's coming in a little bit lower. So, you know, does Bitcoin wick down to like 96, 97,000 bucks and then try for a bounce? That could be possible as well. But ultimately, I do think that things will come down lower. I mean, it's really hard to ignore at this point. Let's look at some gold, actually. Some gold, some back above 4,000 bucks. I do think that the bounce that we've been looking for is underway. I also think that this bounce will inevitably be a bull trap, but it can bounce a lot here. I mean, you know, another 100 to 200 bucks to the upside from 4,000 is completely fine, but still, I do think that this one's top for a while here. Probably same shit as silver, to be honest, as well. Looking at Bitcoin versus gold, Bitcoin is getting shellacked versus gold in recent times. Should bounce relatively soon, though, but overall, this is not good. Again, you have the conditions ripe for a real reversal. You have high, you have low, you have lower high. You're at this prior low, so you have lower high plus same low. The bias goes in favor of a real potential reversal to the downside, only verified by a closure below the April of 2025 lows. At that point, yeah, you know, downtrend is in motion, and there's going to be bounces along the way. Of course, things don't necessarily move in a straight line, but it would be a downwards chart, and you know, just hard to favor Bitcoin in those circumstances as well. You know, have to call a spade here. Anyways, what else can we look at? Maybe some Dixie action going on right here. Again, coming off of the 377 on the monthly. I do think that this is going to operate as a pretty significant low for a while. I do think that Dixie will actually head back up above 100 bucks. But in the short term, should have found a lower high right here. So might do something like this. Boom, sets in another low there. Boom, boom, boom. But I do think that this is a major bouncy region. It's just going to get drawn out for this could literally take 6 months. You know, that could take a long fucking time, like a super long time. But I do like this for a general higher low and then bounces, away from there. It's just, I guess if this thing does come back to the downside, maybe that could help out markets a little bit. This is going to operate, or almost undoubtedly, as another local swing high. So, coming back down to this region right here is completely fine. Just, I don't think it's going to continue to new lows or anything like that, man. I think if the low is in, it might test around that low, but I don't think you're going to be going much lower than, or I don't think you're going lower than that, to be honest, man. Tether is lurking this quarter caller. We can go look at Tether dominance for a moment, just one moment. Oh, man. Tether dominance. Let's check out some Tether dominance action here. 555 still looking to me like it wants to make maybe one more stab at this long-term trend line. I think this is the most bullish of bullish hopium, though. Absolutely must reject from this region if any sort of long-term bullishness is going to emerge for Bitcoin, without significantly living below 90,000 bucks in the more near term, I suspect. So, again, if this one does spike up here, that should get Bitcoin down to the low 90s, I would think. It's just you absolutely want to see it reject from that same number as well, 575 or so. Or let's call it 575. But anywhere around there, fair game. absolutely do not want to see it back above the highs from April this year. That would be a absolute death sentence for this cycle. That would be 6.25 almost. So even just trading above there would be bad enough. And again, you do have the conditions here, potential for reversal. It's certainly not confirmed just yet, but you do have a higher low. You do have a higher low upon a major moving average as well. Yes, you still got lower highs, so the bias is still to the downside. But if it takes out this prior high, then you have the reversal. Then it's just kisses fucking market goodbye for a while, and definitely kiss the altcoins goodbye probably for forever, because they've been getting almost no love this whole cycle, except for Zcoin, for the old Zcoin, Zcash. It blows my mind that people treat something that has cash at the end of the name of it as legitimate, when the whole idea of fucking crypto is get away from cash. But just having cash after the name of the coin seems it just cheapens it so much. Like, that was always one of my major issues with fucking Bitcoin Cash. Wasn't necessarily the fact that it's just, garbage and, and all this sort of stuff. But the name is bad. It's Bitcoin Cash. It's like Bitcoin Cash token coins. It's like, what the fuck? It's just, how about Bitcoin? Just the cash at the end of the name. I don't know. It just immediately makes me think, that sounds like a scam. Anyway, Zcash continues to the upside here. Last time we looked at it, I did say somewhere around 500 or 520. Didn't just hit that target. It massively exceeded it as well. So as always, when you do have a runaway chart like this, it is not wise to try to front run any sort of a potential reversal. Yeah, to be fair, there's actually not even a significant reason to believe that the highs are in right here as well. I don't think that this one's top just yet. I won't call a top on this one until I actually see it reverse, to be honest. If it does strike a little bit higher, 750 is going to be the next area of interest, to be fair. And to be honest, I think it might. Especially when I look at the monthly right here. What's another $100 on a parabolic blow off top? What's another $100? Who gives a fuck? Trans King says when Zcash crashes, that will be the short of a lifetime. Yeah. It'll be difficult though. These sort of parabolic blow off tops are notoriously fucking, I don't want to say impossible, but they're very, 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 very difficult. And many people have lost accounts trying to pick tops before they've actually happened. Just like many people lose their accounts trying to pick lows before the low actually happens. So in my book, I like to wait for a clean and obvious reversal to happen first. Then if you want to trade on that side, go ahead. But naturally, I will always miss the ultimate high and the ultimate low, because I don't want to be the first person to get fucking run over in that. And I think there's probably been a lot of people who have been trying to front run this reversal here, and it's just been pain upon pain upon pain this whole way through. This thing's been fucking vertical since September, vertical from basically $55 all the way up to 640. That's more than a 10x. That's crazy. That's crazy shit. Zcash is a new Bitcoin. Perhaps it is, man, but I still think probably not. Probably not, man. Yeah. Couple more sips of this water, then we'll get into some more Bitcoin's analysis here. We do have, like I said, a bi-weekly closing later today for CME, so that's gonna be a big focus of today's analysis as Bitcoin dances around $100,000. All right, there we go. Desperately needed that. All right, cool. Let's look at some Bitcoin action over here. Bitcoin daily price action statistics. Again, Friday, slightly in favor of positive closures over negative closures since this bull market began in 2023. However, we are, as always, most interested in the average gains for positive and negative closing Fridays. And yet again, yesterday, we did see another one of these scalp bounces play off of the bottom side of that range. The second test was not a winner, as is usual. So again, if you are looking at this as a scalpable opportunity, if you are looking at this as a valuable piece of edge, which I undoubtedly believe that it is not the second pass. You cannot trade the second pass and expect good results. Sometimes it will work out in your favor, but you are massively going against it at that point. This is the first pass and only the first pass. The second pass, go fuck yourself. And the first pass for today's low has actually already provided the impetus for a nice little bounce here. You can see that the bottom side of this average loss range would be about 99,600. Bitcoin's low of the day around that number, bouncing up back above $100,000. In fact, just a couple, earlier is a few $100 above that number. So nearly $700, $800 bounce from that number already. I would say that again, if you are looking at this as I have been presenting this as a nice piece of edge, which I do believe that, it's very obvious that it is valuable as an actual valid, yes, that's what I'm that I'm looking for, a valid edge you still have to present, or you still have to construct a strategy around it. So just because I'm showing it as an edge doesn't mean that, that's the way to play it. You have to, one, figure out how much you actually want to scalp from that, two, your risk management from that. And that's where I turn over the keys to you and say, figure it out, motherfucker, because this is where we get rid of the lobotomized morons, as the lobotomites will not be able to figure that out. The non-lobotomites certainly will. And I'll just postulate a very, very simple way that you could actually make this work. This, you could leverage the standard deviation function from this same indicator to get some targets for these regions as well. That could actually be one way that you do look at it. But hey, I didn't tell you that. You have to, again, you can figure that out yourself. Again, there is a free trial for this 7 days in the link description below for Teachable. Moving on from there, like I said, today's a big bi-weekly closure for CME, so that's likely going to be where things settle in by Sunday of this week for spot price action as well. As it stands right now, all higher term timeframes still very ugly for Bitcoin. I mean, it does have to be a downwards bias overall. Maybe there's a bounce in between. I don't fucking know. If it does bounce, maybe like 106, 107, that's fine. But the direction is down. And if I have to bet in one direction happening, it is going to be to the downside. And in this case, the bi-weekly timeframe, again, on CME closing later today, is going to continue to the downside. As long as you're closing below 119,200 by end of day, I think that that's very likely to happen. I don't think that we're going to see a $19,000 rally before end of day. And I do want to also acknowledge that throughout this current cycle, we've seen all of the lows come in around this number for the bi-weekly stochastic oscillator, about 55, 56 region, with the lowest one being from the October lows of 2024, where it came in around 54. So it is going to test that on next week's open. If you see it well below that, I think that's a really good indication that the current trend, which has been holding up this cycle, is over. It's done. And if it's done, then we should be expecting something different happening. And if something different is happening, then that would be, that is a bear market. The old B word, It's time to pray. It's beaver. It's the beaver market. It's actually a beaver moon right now. But yeah, we'll have to start praying to bear Jesus yet again. Like I said, though, I haven't necessarily adopted that belief, even though I am more or less bearish. I just haven't necessarily said, okay, well, it's definitely bearish like for the next year. I don't know about that. Like I said, I'm just taking it one leg at a time, and for now, I'm just downwards focused. But yeah, that continues to the downside here. Very not good. Weekly time frame, which also closed tonight for CME, is going to continue to the downside as well, as it is going to be pivoted at 120 for the stochastic momentum oscillator. On top of this, when we go over here to the bi-weekly for our RSI chart, we can see on CME that there is bearish divergence playing out right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 drives coming off these last few highs. We can see the bi-weekly RSI is already at the sort of neutral 50 line right there. So, you really would be expecting a bounce precisely around this region if this current trend is going to continue to the upside. So a lot remains to be seen on this one. On top of this, and what's maybe even a little bit more concerning to me, and again, I want to state first that this indicator is still, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's fully ready, although it is starting to show a lot more promise. But the bi-weekly Krown oscillator right here is, of course, continuing to the downside. But I also want to acknowledge you have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence from the last couple major highs within the past couple years, from the March highs right here, and of course the more recent January highs of this year from right here as well. And again, doing the same thing here on a lower high for the oscillator itself with a higher high in price action. It's really difficult not to see this thing come down at least to this price action pivot trendline extension right here, which would be coming in somewhere around about $95,000. Maybe a short-term bounce temp there. But if things want to break down, they're going to go for the green moving average, and the green moving average is significantly lower. It has an 8 handle on it. Yes, it will rise up next period. Maybe gets up to like $85,000, and from there should be about $1,000 each and every passing period. But just keep that in mind. Like there's plenty of good reasons to believe that things are going lower. Again, I'm not talking about the short term here. I think that I sometimes get massively misunderstood, relating different time frames and what I think is going to happen. But in the short term, there might be a short term bounce. Again, I don't know if that's even worth talking about, but ultimately the higher term timeframes are all headed in the same direction. On top of this, when we go over here to the monthly MACD, again, this one really fucking concerns me, to be honest. It really does, because anytime we've seen the monthly MACD cross the downside, the high for the cycle was already in. Every fucking time. And we are going to see this one, I mean, maybe not. I mean, it's a long month left to go, obviously, but it will cross to the downside if Bitcoin closes this month out below 97,450. And we do have targets below there, to be fair. And this is what the past, results have been for this. Every time it's signaled that the high was already in. And in this case, well, the high was in, or the high thus far is October. So that is there. That is absolutely there. And if that does cross to the downside, again, it's just, I mean, it's just down. It's just down. Now, I do want to again state that if we start to see all of these things fire off by the end of this month, and this was the exact high, about 125 or 126,000 bucks for Bitcoin, I don't think we're going to see a super catastrophic bear market. I do think that you'd get a low somewhere between like, I don't know, 50,000 bucks, give or take 5,000 bucks from that number, just as like a random number to kind of keep some eyes on, somewhere around there, which would be a far cry away from prior bear market drawdowns. But still, that's a big move to the downside, to be fair, and something that I think most people would probably not want to live through or hold through. Then again, who knows? That's up to you. Anyways, moving on from there, I do want to get into the bi-weekly HPDR for CME here too. It is going to be losing very likely the 38.2 level if Bitcoin does finish the day below 103,800. So I guess if you could see Bitcoin rally back above 103,800, maybe that would be somewhat of a positive sign that, hey, at least it's going to try a bounce first. Next week opened up on a bounce to like 108, 109. Something like that, I guess, would be possible if you did see that happen. But until then, man, I mean, this one's turning down and it wants more down. It wants more down. What else do we have? Yeah, we also have this setup over here, 8-day time frame for the red and yellow moving average. That one's very likely going to cross. That is going to likely be able to move somewhere around about 96,800 or so. Again, just keep your eyes on that, assuming that things do remain below about 109 by the end of tomorrow. So that would be Saturday's closure. If that happens, I do think we will see at least a wick somewhere down around here. Again, probably a bounce off of this moving averages we have been getting on this whole way to the downside. But, that would still be another, few thousand bucks to the downside from where we're at right now. So perhaps something of note if you are trading these time frames too. So just, be aware of all this stuff, because a lot of it is saying be cautious at best. Again, it's like, can you have a bounce here? Yes, you can have a bounce, but I need to be so fucking clear and careful with how I relate the idea of a bounce in this region. It's like, you could easily bounce to 103, 104, 105. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything, unfortunately, for the Bitcoin BULAs right now. Bitcoin BULAs absolutely need to get back above the prior week's swing high in order to reclaim, current trend here. So that is problematic as it stands right now. And even the daily, now that I recognize, I actually didn't even notice this before, but the daily time frame is being held by the 200 simple on CME. That's not a great sign. It's not a great sign. Now, there was one point of hoping that we went over in yesterday's video. It was based off of the daily regression for the stochastic momentum trend line right here. Apparently did I delete this or something? I must have deleted this. Okay. Well, that was stupid, but we can just draw it again. Simple enough. Anyways, now that I recognize it, it's probably not going to bounce off of this trend line, because if you recall from yesterday's video, the pivot to force the daily stochastic momentum oscillator back to the upside yesterday was 105. Now it's actually gone up to 106. Usually that's not a good sign. Now, hey, I would be very happy if there's a rally back above 106 by the end of today. I just think it's a little bit less likely in the very, very short term, to be honest. But yeah, generally when the momentum pivot in this case goes up from the prior day to the current day, it's going to be a compounding signal that things do want to continue in the current direction, which would be in this case to the downside. Zcash just hit 690. Holy shit, man! It's actually pretty impressive that it's rallying while Bitcoin's doing what it's doing, because usually Bitcoin would be the rally killer if something like that was happening. Does look like I don't see the same 690 tick as you, but I do think that this one is not topped out just yet. I do think it's got a little bit more to go, at least. Maybe around 750 or so is where I'd be starting to think, okay, this kind of makes sense for a technical pullback yet again. But hey, I want to be super fucking clear with anyone who's listening right now. I do not think it's wise to stand in front of this train. wait for an actual reversal. Yes, that means you're going to miss the Pico top, as people like to say. But look, you don't need to pick the exact fucking high or the exact fucking low for that matter to make a shit ton of money. You can make a career out of getting, 50 to 60% of the move rather than 100% of the move. And I see a lot more people going broke trying to pick tops and bottoms for that matter than I do with people just, playing the overall trend or just at least looking for a real reversal first. I mean, this one's literally at the fucking high right now. The sort of fool's gold with this shit is that people will look at this and be like, holy shit, if I short right here and this is the exact top, then I get as much money as possible. It's like, yes, you're true, but you're also just more likely to be wrong with that. So yeah, this is a parabolic blow off top. Absolutely. It will very likely end in tears at some point, but good luck fucking standing in the front, in front of that moving train, because there's going to be a lot of bullishly impaled bungholes before that one inevitably does reward bear Jesus and turn over its faith. But for right now, yeah. Hard not to see that one going into a seven handle, I suppose. Anyways, one moment as I take another sippy sip of this. Stevik says, didn't you say in yesterday's video that bears were wrong and that the first bounce and that the first Bitcoin bounce is a minimum of 105? I did not say a minimum of 105. I did base it off of the daily HPDR for when this one starts to go into contraction phase. What my point was from yesterday's video was basically this. What my point from yesterday's video is this. In the short term, I did not expect Bitcoin to make new lows, like closing on new lows, before a bounce attempt first. And I was looking for a bounce attempt to at least, 103 to 104 region. And at some point when we do see volatility contract, I would be looking for a revisiting of the daily HPDR median right here, which actually did go up from yesterday to today, but it's going to come down again. That is actually still very much valid, to be fair. But that was kind of my point. It's a little bit of clickbait bullshit, to be fair, but hey, at the end of the day, that is what YouTube's all about. Sorry to break that to you, but yeah, my point was bears in the very, very short term who are looking for catastrophic price action down to $90,000. Or more, are going to be wrong. And there's probably, there's good reason to believe that there's going to be a short-term bounce. Maybe that might still be right, to be honest. Again, I'm not committing to these views right now, but that's also what I was referring to earlier in the sense that I need to differentiate between short-term analysis, what I think is going to happen over the next week to 2 weeks versus more long-term, which is over the next few months. And so this is kind of the point that I continue to bring up and why you hear me kind of say the same thing over and over again, because I want to address that to people like you, but apparently you still don't even get it to begin with, which is very frustrating. Again, maybe it's just my fault, for expressing it improperly. But then again, it does seem like the most people do get it. So yeah, it's, I guess that's just the nature of speaking on YouTube. Anyways, I'll take a few more sips of this and we'll get into the actual shit coins of the day. Harry Beaver 69 says, God bless Krown. He's the only reason my wife gets turned on in bed with me when we watch the live stream. May the live streams continue forever. I wish I had a soundboard right now. I wish I had a soundboard as well. All right, let's get into some of these shitcoins here. Let's see. In fact, I do want to say there's been some people asking about some specific stocks in the past month or two, and I want to say a massive thank you for that. Let's see if they pop up in today's video, because I do have some personal thank yous to give out for awareing me of some of these amazing stocks. Anyways, we have a new number one. We have a new number one, baby. It's Mr. Pizza 114. He says, GM, good sir. What's up, man? XRP daily and weekly. So last we looked at this one, I did say somewhere down around 220-ish region, and then maybe a bounce. And it is down to 220, and I'm not sure we're going to get a bounce. Well, I guess yesterday kind of was that bounce up to 240-ish region. Still overall bearish, still a downtrend, so nothing's really changed there. I don't know. Is it going to, like, this is the fucking $1 million question right now if you're trading lower term timeframes. Are things going to try for a bounce here first and then down, or do they just go down from here? I really don't know. But even if it does bounce, I think that your bounces are very much limited. That's what makes it so difficult. Does it bounce up to like 226, 227? Maybe. It doesn't really change anything, but I don't know. If you're on the 4 hour, that probably matters to you. If you're on the daily, probably not. Daily is very obviously bearish still, as is the weekly, as is the bi-weekly, as is the monthly. I do think at some point you're going to see another move down to about 190, and that's where I'd really hope that this thing does bounce if it is going to, be bullish long term. But, let's call a spade here while we're on the monthly time frame. Monthly time frame has two majorly bad things going for it right now. One is that as long as you're above 240, you will see the monthly stochastic momentum oscillator cross the downside. And two, it will confirm bearish divergence between the highs of April and the highs that you saw right here as well. It's a very slight amount, but yeah, it is present. And at that point, somewhere between 185 to 190 is where we'd be looking towards. Other than that, I don't really have strong opinions on this one on like the quarterly or anything above that, but you're also not asking about that. So thank God, because I really wouldn't know what to say in this situation. If not for anything else, I generally think maybe you bounce here, maybe you don't, but ultimately lower is the name of the game. Similar to Bitcoin, it's like maybe you bounce here, maybe you don't. I do still think that there's, some good hopium for a bounce, a few $1,000 up. But what I feel most confident on is that at some point, yeah, we will see a stab lower, to either the upper 80s or the very low 90s. The real question is, what sort of bounce do you see in between there, if any? And, I'm going to think that there's going to be a bounce as long as you're coming off a major moving averages like this. And as soon as the daily BBWP goes into a contraction phase, that's where I'd feel very, very, very confident about a bounce. And at that point, we could start to look at targets, which in this case would be somewhere around that medium. But again, that's going to depend when that actual contraction phase happens. And right now we don't have that. So this may be, it's probably gonna be lower by the time that happens, if I had to guess. But, we won't know until it actually happens, to be fair. Anyways, Get With The Hype says NVTS on the daily and weekly. Figured I'd let you know. My handle is in Get With. It's great with Great White Hype. Oh, Great White Hype? What does that even mean? It sounds racist. Who knows, man? Anyways, thank you for clarifying that. I would have never figured that out. Get With The Hype. It's Great White Hype. And I'm the Great White Ninja. Anyways, let's look at it on this chart right here. Okay, Navitas. Whoa, what the fuck? Jesus, man, that is ugly as hell. What the hell happened there? Very, very ugly. Have we looked at this one before? Do I have a chart for it? No, I don't. Shit, man. Again, you might bounce in the short term back up to 950, but at some point, you're almost undoubtedly coming down to $6. So it's a similar thing to Bitcoin. It's like, do you bounce here first and then come down, or you just come down? I don't know. But I think either way, you're coming down somewhere around here. Maybe even lower, because this is a pretty emphatic rejection. And the monthly is ugly AF is the technical term, actually. So yeah, man. I don't know if I'm on a daily. You probably at least get a pity bounce off of the 580-ish number right here. That is also your prior base. So yeah, at least a pity bounce. Maybe it pops up to like $8.80 to $9, something like that, and then down again. Could be something like that, man. What's up, Mr. Gallo? Herbalife? Isn't this some like sort of MLM bullshit? You know what it is? How do you know what it is? Is it an MLM bullshit? It is. Okay. Oh god. Great. MLM, great fucking business model. Amazing. I can't say that I'm shocked that it is a catastrophic, nasty, disgusting chart. But to be fair, this is probably a bottoming zone if you're very long term. I know you're not on a monthly or a quarterly, which is where you probably should be if you are going to hope and pray on some bullshit like this. But actually, I do think that your low from October of last year, or sorry, January of this year, is probably the low. I just think, it's kind of a dead stock, right? You might be doing something like this for a long time and then give one of those popcorn rallies up like fucking 20, 30, maybe not $30, but like 20, $25, and then smash it back down again. That's par for the course for these highly esteemed MLMs. Yes, my MLM. Beautiful. I remember okay, so I've had one interaction with an MLM. And I remember, because it was a friend from college who got into it, and I was just out of college at the time, and I was, as anyone out of college, like interested in any sort of money-making opportunities. And she called me up. She said, how would you like to have an opportunity to make passive income? And immediately from that sentence, that was the first sentence that she said, okay? First sentence that she said. And immediately from that sentence, I'm like, I need to go. I have something to do, like laundry right now. I need to get the fuck out of here. And yeah, that was it. I forget what a product it was for. I think it was like a fitness type product or some bullshit like that. But yeah, man. Anyways, David said, hey, what's up, David? Any relief for render? Probably not. I mean, like, look, if Bitcoin's doing what it's doing, unless your name's Zcash, you're probably going straight to the fucking toilet. Any hope for this? I mean, there's always hope. It's just probably 0.000001 probability. I don't know. What is your definition of hopium? Like back to prior all-time highs? I would be, if you gave me an option to say new all-time highs within the next 5 years or not, I would take the not. Every fucking time for almost pretty much anything we're gonna probably see today, to be honest. Holy shit, Steven's here! Oh my god! He's here! Thank God, man. I was actually very worried about you. Anyways, for render, man, this is just garbage, man. This is terrible. It's terrible. It's fucking god awful. Much more likely to come back down to your 2023 lows than it is to ever go back above $10 again. I'll put it that way, man. I don't know. Are you looking for bounces in between? Look, you might get your bounces in between. Sure, they just all fail. You know, it would be a gift from God if this thing popped up to like $3. So good luck with that, man. Good luck, my good man. Good luck, my good man. But I mean, you do get bounces at some point. It's just they all fail. So, anyways, Steven, we shall do the doggy for you. We shall do the doggy for Steven. Still think it's coming down here. Yeah, we did hit the 15-cent target. Yeah, you're getting a short-term bounce, but at some point in the next few weeks, I do expect it to officially hit like this magical line, the magical line of magical opportunities, just above 14.25 cents. Probably going to bounce off that level as well. Now, that begs the question: is the bounce going to be reversal into an all-time, uptrend? Probably not. Probably not. But probably at least a little bit of a bounce, man. You know, just playing ping pong on this overall range. That's kind of the way that I see this one for the foreseeable future. At best, I mean, obviously, worst case scenario is it actually breaks to new lows, and then you got real problems because it's a long way down to like 8 to 9 cents. But for right now, man, I don't know. Still kind of give it the benefit of the doubt. Most likely going to bounce off this number here if it does officially get there. And in the very, very short term, is it going to try bounce from here? I mean, it kind of is, I guess. Just it's all meaningless as long as you're below the 200 simple, which is basically your last lower high as well. Price action pivot getting this one perfectly at 21 cents. I really want to acknowledge that the price action pivot as well is you can play the price action pivot trendline extensions very similarly to the historical price action statistics over here, where the first test into them is almost always going to give you a scalpable move. This one's going to take a little bit more brains than the HPass to be on it. Well, actually, no, the HPass is pretty involved. This one's a little more noob friendly, I suppose. But yeah, as long as you're below there, it's a very difficult chart to love. Very, very difficult chart to love, sir. Chris Vela says, ICP, daily weekly. I took initials. Cool. That's awesome. I'm glad that you are taking some profits on these. I'm guessing it had a bounce recently. Oh, it actually had a pretty good move recently. Nice. Not bad. Not bad at all. But as with all rallies on this thing, it will very likely fail. And you are beautifully positioned right now at the white 200 simple on the weekly time frame. This is, in my opinion, the best place for this current rejection, because this rally, like all previous rallies, will almost undoubtedly fail. So yeah, man, it might spike like $8.50, $9 again. That's very possible, but I do think that this is not going to get any real continuation above this number right here. I think that this is going to be the high of your rally, more or less. So we can take this and put it right here. Okay, it's way too big. Hold on. Let's just redraw it for this. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. That's about where I'd be looking for on the high of this rally, and then very likely down again. But hey, if you're taking initials, good shit on you. Good shit on you. Good on you. Good shit. Good shit. I feel like I sometimes forget language. But yeah, overall, I do look at this as a pretty good place for the next lower high, especially on a higher term time frame like this. Monthly time frame, yeah. I can be calling a reversal on anything that looks like this, man. That is for goddamn sure. What did you send me, Elsa? What the fuck is this? What is this meme that you just sent me? What are you trying to say? It's a meme that says, babe, a small penis isn't such a big deal, says the girl. I don't know, Jenny. I just wish you didn't have one at all. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, you got me. You got me. All right. I actually didn't expect that. McDonald's House says, could you scope AR USDT on the hourly? Okay. Arweave. Oh, God. I remember this thing from like 2 summers ago when the fucking banter people were all telling me I was a fucking lobotomized moron for being bearish on this. But yeah. I wonder if those people ever apologize. Nah, who gives a fuck? Anyways, doesn't actually matter. Okay, so obviously you're asking about an hourly time frame here. It's massively different than the long term. Look, long term, garbage, 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 garbage. Garbage only goes down. In the short term, can you have bounces? Absolutely yes. And is it going to bounce a little bit more? Probably, yeah. In the short term, I think you bounce back up to these highs here at about 610, 620-ish region. Yeah. And if it can actually close above this price action pivot at 620, you know, you probably have a pretty good move up to what? I don't know, 670, 680, something like that. So yeah, short-term rally, but again, I know you didn't ask about the long-term, but long-term, very likely another rally that's just going to fail. I think it would be an absolute gift from God, and probably best possible scenario if it did get all the way up to like $9.50 to $10. But again, long-term, don't think you're ever going to go back above that $29 high right here. And in fact, we got bearish on this thing massively at about 35, 34 bucks right here. So I remain with my long-term bearishness here. Short-term, can it extend that short-term rally? Yeah, sure. If you're on the hourly, that's not necessarily the same thing, but fair enough, ma'am. Anyways, and by the way, just for the short term, do you want to acknowledge as well, I would switch around my opinion very, very quickly if this thing came back down and violated 2 hours ago low, which was 549, this price action pivot right here. If you break below there, expect big downside back down to $5. I mean, that's well, rally already canceled if that happens, I guess. You're at the weekly 21 EMA. So I guess that could kind of make sense. Possible, but I'd give it the benefit of the doubt as long as you're above that hourly pivot, especially if you are quite literally trading the hourly in this case. Adam Black says silver top, bounce, sell my silver nipples and dimes. I don't know, maybe you should keep your nipples, but sell the dimes, I guess. Anyways, if we can look at actual spot silver, I'm guessing it's playing pretty much hand in hand with gold as it typically does. Indeed it is, which means I should say about the same thing on gold as I do on silver, which is short-term bounce. I think that this thing might bounce back up $50, you know, maybe $50.50, something like that. But ultimately, this high is in for a long time, I do believe. I feel very strongly about that. And I do think that this one will at some point, you know, before the, okay, maybe not before the end of this quarter, but between now and the end of the first quarter of 2026, I do think you're going to see this thing come down all the way to about $40 or so. And that actually might be a great opportunity long-term, to be honest. But yeah, that would imply some pretty severe downside. So very, very short-term, probably a bit of a bounce. Long-term, I think it's a high for a long time. And I do think that you will come significantly further down. I don't know, let's see like a 6-month time frame. Yeah, if it came back down to $40, actually, I don't necessarily hate that. I'd still be open-minded towards like a long-term continuation of trend, but you know, that is a 20% move from where you're at right now, let alone I think like a 30 or 40% move from the high. Yeah, sorry, nowhere fucking near there. It's 26.5% from the high, but still about a 20% move from where you're at right now to about $40. So something like that. I think that's significant in traditional market language. Anyways, Vahid Gabel says, CORZ stock, daily, weekly, please, kind sir. All good, man. What are the best practices to stay in a profitable long-term position and maximize ROI while staying level-headed? I mean, it all comes down to what was your preconceived strategy before you actually took the fucking investment, it sounds like, to begin with. It sounds like very long-term, in which case you have to choose some sort of objective indication that tells you that you don't want to hold it anymore. So I don't know, that could be you're looking for multiple drives of bearish divergence on a monthly time frame, for example. I'm not going to tell you exactly what you should be looking at. I'm just give you some ideas, and then you fucking backtest it and figure out what is best addressing or modeling what you're trying to do. You know, you could do something like that. You could also look at volatility. When my monthly volatility gets to, 95 percentile or more, maybe it's time to shave off some of my position, these sort of things. Or maybe just looking for a weekly reversal. You just quite literally want to see a lower high and a lower low. And then you say, hey, it's time to shave my position. All of these things are completely fine. And you can do more as well, man. There's very many ways to kind of handle this. But it just comes down to, first, what is your stated goal? Your stated goal is to maximize ROI while staying level-headed. Well, you stay level-headed by following a plan. You don't necessarily maximize your ROI by sticking to a plan, but you maximize your long-term health by sticking to a plan. That's really the idea. Like maximizing your ROI is a very, very difficult thing to do, because that's where you start to get into the mentality that you need to buy the ultimate low and then sell the ultimate high, and that's just never going to happen. You don't need to do that to make a shit ton of money anyways. So I wouldn't put pressure on myself like that. I would just look for objective signals that model the sort of move that you are looking for. So I would postulate a few things, a few very simple things that I just threw out right there, like your RSI divergences on higher term timeframes, like extreme volatility reads on higher term timeframes, or quite literally a trend shift on higher term timeframes. But it's up to you to decide which one of those, if any, or you could find something else that just models what you're looking for. Because I don't fucking know, man. I don't fucking know what you're looking for. In general, if you truly are a long-term person, thinking 10 years down the road, I don't think fucking around with your positions at all is very wise. Or at least if you are, it should always be like it should always be like relatively small moves. So let's say I bought 100% of my position right here at $10. I bought the reversal basically. Okay, and then I'm looking at this over here, and I'm like, oh shit, this is starting to look like a bit of a reversal on the other side. Maybe I want to shave off like 30% of my position, just take those profits, and then maybe bid lower if I really like it long term. I don't know if you like it long term. I don't know if it's relevant to you long term. I don't even know if it's a good long term asset. I don't fucking know. But again, I'm just postulating these ideas so that maybe you could take something that might actually work for you. But again, I don't know exactly what you're trying to do or what's best for you specifically, because, well, I'm not you. Anyways, as far as CORZ go, I do think that you have a little bit more downside, maybe back down to like $18.5 to $19 even. You're quite close there already. I'm not necessarily full on bearish on this one, to be honest with you, though. I do think that you are just having a swing high right here, and you're going to come down somewhere around here and put in hopefully a higher swing low. So that also means that if you do really start to violate below your October 20th low, which was about 1691, in my opinion, at that point, this one actually does shift around. And do we have bearish divergence here? We actually technically do not, to be fair. I don't know if that's going to be much of a consolation prize. I still think it's going lower from where you're at right now, but give it a chance to bounce in this region right here. I mean, that still would be a higher low even on your daily time frame. So I don't look at that as like super problematic until you're, again, below this very specific low right here, correlated perfectly with, I should say, the price action pivot of $16.91.5. So yeah. Oh, I think your question is actually more about position management. So taking out the original invested capital, you could look at it like that. I look at taking off like a specific percentage of my of my position. So for example, when I was selling my Kratos position at around 105 to 110 region here, I took off 30%. 30% of my original position, or sorry, it's not even my original position, but just my total position. I still want to be holding 70% of that, even though, yeah, I'm going to be losing, a shit ton of unrealized gains right here. But again, this to me is like a long-term type thing. So I'll take, 30% off. If things really got really nasty and came down, below another one of my major pivots, maybe I take another 30% off. But I still like to hold core positions in my long-term names. Just because, I mean, that's realistically the point. And also, I need to hedge against myself if I'm wrong, because there's no rule that says I'm going to be right, all the time. In fact, I know I'm not going to be right all the time. So as always, need to have some sort of a fail safe that keeps me in the money even when I am wrong. So that's the way that I do that. If you think of it as just taking out your initial invested capital, that's fine as well. I think in terms of percentages, both are equally as valid. Steven Schickman is back. Holy shit, man. He's risen from the dead, and he's looking at Doggy versus BTC now. Okay. I mean, I assume it's probably even worse than the US dollar chart, but fair enough. I mean, look, you're back around the same lows that you've had since February of 2024. So you had one right here, you had one right here, you had one more recently right here. You've already kind of dipped down to that low and are kind of rallying off it as of right now. Maybe get a bit more on this bounce. It's very possible, but overall, this is a very, very nasty, very, very well-established downtrend. If this one does bounce, I think it'd be a gift from God to get it back around like 200 Satoshis. I'm not saying it's going to get above there. I'm just saying if it did get there, I'd look at that as a gift from God. I think it's going to be very difficult to even get back above like 180, to be honest, because this is it's bearish AF. It's fucking disgusting as far as the chart goes. I mean, this is just a down only chart versus Bitcoin. It's very difficult to beat Bitcoin long term. So maybe you reconnect somewhere around the red 5 EMA on the monthly. Maybe it's a little bit higher, maybe it's a little bit lower, somewhere around 180, let's say, maybe as much as 200 on the maximum end, in my opinion. But after that, I'd be looking for this thing to try some downside again. I don't think that the October low is going to be the low. I think that this wick low here is going to get filled on Dogecoin and on many things as well. I mean, almost every altcoin is going to fill those October lows at some point. Yeah, that's kind of what I have to say about that. Anyways, Elsa, god damn it. Elsa's sending me very questionable memes. If it gets too serious, I need a joke. It's true. Need some good joking actions. Anyways, we got Straight Path next. He says, does CLSK bounce here? Let's check it out. Daily, please. Thank you for specifying the exact time frame you're looking at. I don't know exactly right here. I do think you're a little more likely to bounce slightly lower, somewhere around about $13 even. Yeah, I think you're at least going to come. Sorry, let me adjust that to the weekly 21, about 1369, 1360-ish region, somewhere around here. You probably get a bounce attempt, but again, let's remember where we are in the grand scheme of things. We called out the last couple of weeks. This was a very, very important rejection at 23.43. And when you reject from a number like that or tops out of a range like that, you're at least going to come down to the middle of the range, which is where you're pretty much at right now. I think that you will come down to this major moving average and then, try a little bit of a bounce. But I don't think that that's going to be a macro low, or sorry, a higher low. I want to be super, super clear with that. I don't think that's going to be a higher low, man. Maybe it ends up being something like this, bounces up to like 15, 16 bucks. I don't know, something like that. And then maybe comes down, and then you're more likely to find a higher low somewhere down around here, which would actually be quite good. But, it does kind of matter the order in which these things happen. And there Bitcoin goes back above 101. Holy shit. Amazing bounce. We love it. We love the bounce. But yeah, if you're asking my opinion, I think just a slight amount lower on the daily, and then you try for a bounce. But I am not looking at that as the bounce that brings this thing back up, to this high. I don't think that that's happening anytime soon. I think that this thing is consolidating sideways at best between that $23.50 high versus your lows at like $7.50, which is going to be quite painful, to be honest, because typically after you test the top side, you're going to go test at least the middle and then the bottom side if you fail there. So we shall see. We shall see, sir. But yeah. Gallo says, my NEAR is pumping. Oh, I'm sure, man. I'm sure it's looking great. Here we go. We have NEAR protocol. Amazing. I love looking at these 2021 shitcoins. Indeed, it is pumping, as are most things coming off of these lows, and probably is going to find another lower high relatively soon, to be honest. But, it is a decent pump, to be fair, and to give it its due, I suppose. I guess the question is, how high on this bounce can it get without really destroying anything, because it is almost undoubtedly going to continue with its long-term downtrend. I'm looking for something that's obvious here. I guess the next most obvious number would be this 255 number right here. I'm not so confident that that actually will stop it. Let's say Bitcoin were to bounce like 105, 106, 107. I could see something like NEAR back around this moving average, which is about $3. But I think that would be the best place for the next sort of lower high within this overall trend, because I do not expect this thing to reverse, anytime soon. Long term, I think absolute best case scenario would be anywhere around the weekly 200 simple. That's coming down pretty harshly, somewhere around 415 right now. And as always, I will say I don't think that this thing will ever get back above that December 2024 high. So ultimately, it's just a game of finding where the next lower high is. Is it right here at 255? Is it a little bit higher at 310? Or is it in some disastrous situation where hell freezes over somewhere around like $4.15 to $4 even? One of those areas where I'll be looking for. But yeah, it is a pretty decent rally as of right now. So, respect it indeed. Chris Vela says FET lower timeframes like hourly or 6 hour. Sure. I guess if you're going to trade shitcoins, that's the only sort of timeframes that actually makes sense. But anyways, let's go to a 6 hour first, actually. Yeah, all these shitcoins are having decent rallies right now. I think this one could actually send a little bit more towards 34, 35 cents, somewhere in that pocket there. But I would be expecting a rejection somewhere between, let's say, 35 cents on the lower end to 39 cents on the higher end. Something like that. So probably does have some more upside from where you're at right now. But again, these are this in my opinion is like play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Same thing as the last chart as well. It's like long term, it's a down only chart. So the real game should be where is the next lower high? And I know you didn't ask about higher term timeframes, but I do think it could actually pop up a decent amount. But alas, in the short term, yeah, maybe somewhere around here, and then another short term high, followed by some more downside, as this thing typically does. I mean, again, there's nothing bullish about this chart long term at all whatsoever. This is a god awful down only shitcoin chart, 10 out of 10 times. But you know, can it pop up here to like somewhere around 39, maybe even 40 cents before heading lower? Yeah. In fact, I think that actually would make a lot of sense, to be honest, too. So fair enough. Anyways, Daniel Hagen says Zcash. We can look at Zcash. We've looked at it a couple times already, but haven't really done like a super in-depth analysis. And I don't think I really have. Oh, there it is. Above 700. Holy shit. Holy fuck. Okay. This really is close to the parabolic blow off top. I mean, it went up to 750. When I last looked at it, it was like 640. Crazy shit. But 750 does make a lot of sense for a major high. But again, my personal disposition with these sort of parabolic blow-off tops, based off of my experience over the years, is I really don't want to try to front run a major high. Yes, at some point it will blow off its top and it'll go down, you know, fucking couple $100 in what seems like a day or two. That'll very likely happen. But until that happens, I don't like to call things, because there's been so many people trying to short this rally this whole way up, and that's exactly what happens to them. So it's like you think you're being a genius by shorting the thing that's going up the most while most other things are down. That's not what you want to be shorting. What you want to be shorting are the things that are down the most, because they are the ones that are going to go down even more when the market turns back down and follows the downside trend. This thing is not going to have as big downside moves. Anyways, in this case, yeah, I mean, you did hit 750, so that is legitimately impressive, I will say. Anyways, I do think you probably, in terms of time, the high is very close to being in. Like, this is, like I said, undoubtedly a parabolic blow off top, but this is the craziest times for these things. Like, they can go up hundreds of dollars, they can go down hundreds of dollars. And until I see something that is objectively indicating a reversal is in progress, I would not front run this shit, man. I really wouldn't. Yeah. But hey, if you do want to, you know, go for, you know, price action sort of stuff, then somewhere around $750 to about $800, you'd be expecting at least a pullback. Maybe not necessarily a high, but a pullback. So yeah. Anyways, Go With Boris says Opa Bom Dia. I think that means good morning, good day. Good day to you as well, sir. You're looking at Meta. So you mean like Meta, the company, like Facebook? Yeah, we should look at that, man. Haven't looked at this one in a long time. Coming down pretty significantly here from the highs of almost $800. In fact, yeah, 796 was the current all-time high. You know, it still does have a weekly uptrend here, and you are about to hit the monthly 21 EMA at about 590. I know you didn't ask about the monthly time frame. You're going off of the daily and 12-hour, but I do think that it's important to kind of reflect upon that, because I do think that you're going to put in a bounce relatively soon. So maybe one more stab a little bit lower towards, what was it exactly, 590? Hold on. 591 is that number. 591 is the number. On the daily, the blue 377 is kind of where you're at right now. So I would say in this zone where you're at here to about 590-ish region, I would be looking for a bounce attempt. Bounce something like this, maybe back to like 680 or $700. And that's what I'd be expecting on another rejection if this one is going to actually be bearish. Obviously, if it's bullish, it probably still pulls back from there and then just puts in a higher low. But I guess we'll see, man. I guess we'll see. So generally, I think you're kind of in a short-term local low position right here. I think you'll at least bounce up somewhere around this number here, like 690 to 710, somewhere in that pocket. And then you get to play the real game. Daniel H says ZEC. It's like, okay, we'll look at ZEC versus BTC because we've already looked at it versus the dollar a few times. Versus Bitcoin, yeah, really fucking powerful move. But also versus Bitcoin, terrible long term. And this is actually a little bit of an easier chart to perhaps anticipate where the next major high will be. And I suspect it'll be where the weekly blue, whoops, let me get rid of that. I suspect it'll be somewhere around where the weekly blue 377 EMA is right here, which is 1.22 million Satoshis. So somewhere around there. In fact, I'm going to put in an alert at that number. I want to follow this one myself just to see. Yeah, yeah, again, crazy move right here, absolutely, but I think you're really, really, really close to the next swing high. And this is, again, undoubtedly a down-only chart. So, you know, once you get there, I think this is the one that's going to come down pretty hard. You know, this is easily going to come down. How much percent would that be? Because this is log scale. Keep in mind, that's I actually do think it'll come down 90% after this high versus this Bitcoin parent. Okay, not versus the US dollar, although it probably does come down a lot from the US dollar as well. But goddamn, man, yeah, I think you're getting to that sort of high level very, very soon. This chart actually a lot easier to read than the US dollar chart. And also same thing on the monthly here as well. That green 55 EMA is at about 1 million Satoshi, just above 1 million Satoshis. So I really do like this area for a major, major, major swing high. I'd keep some really keen eyes on that, man. Oh, I just completely missed ASTI. Sorry about that. Somehow I just didn't see that. Anyway, sorry about that. MNE, short term, MNE. Okay. It's not something that, I don't think that we've looked at this one. Oh, whoops. I did not spell that properly. Hold on. Wait a second. Is this what you're actually looking at? Is this what you actually mean? Because that's the only thing that I can see. It's this fucking Euro poor bullshit. Anyways, it is bullish, to be fair. It is bullish, to be fair. Hidden bullish divergence on the last daily higher low. I don't know if you're looking for a short-term entry, like, I still don't necessarily know what that means to you without more details, but I think that this chart is going up from here. This is bullish. This is bullish. If you're looking for an entry, I don't think you need to be too cute. Like, that's the last higher low. That means it's a very easy management point as well. Look, again, I'm not going to spoon feed exactly what you to do, but I shall, I will give a very clean and obvious invalidation for being bullish. As long as you're above this most recent price action pivot higher low, which is 455, I'm looking up. If you come back down below there, okay, yeah, something else is going on and expect a pullback, but you know, perhaps pull back down to like $4.50, which is kind of a big move for this thing. But for now, I'd be looking up and to the right. This is good. Zcash. How many fucking times are we gonna look at goddamn Zcash? Anyways, I think I'm just being trolled at this moment. The older that I get, the more and more I lose my ability to identify when I am being trolled. I'm being trolled. Anyways, one moment. I'll get over to the. We've just gone through all of the super chats. We'll go over the regular chats now. Krown, this is your sleep doctor. What about it? Leno says, "Stop talking that loud." Okay, no problem, sir. Stop whining. No whining. No whining. No whining. Zen, will she follow? I'm genuinely curious what this thing looks like. It's got some privacy features. I hear. No, I don't think that this thing's going to be following, man. Struggling too much already. It's not a good sign, in my opinion. I think it's very likely this thing's already seen the high of this rally, whatever this rally is. But I cannot actually officially call a top on this rally until you're back down below last Sunday's low, which was $15. So if you do come back down below $15, okay, I can easily call, hey, highs are in for a long time. Until then, I guess there is some hopium here for maybe one more stab a little bit higher towards $28-$29. But again, I think personally, I think that's unlikely. Personally, I think it's more likely to top out here. No crying in the casino, says Be Good. Indeed, no crying indeed. Asia Massage says, Krown, have you ever experienced consistent losses every time a particular person re-injects themselves into your life? Serious question. No, because I don't have people re-injecting them into my life. I'm good enough at losing money on my own. I don't need other people to do it for me. That's for damn sure. No, man, I haven't noticed that. Yeah. Anyways, and usually, like, when people leave my life, like, they usually stay out, to be honest, as well. It's Caretaker says, is this person a whore? It very well may be. It very well may be. Let's see. RIOT. We could look at RIOT. RIOT is one of those blockchain miners, I think. Let's see. Down, and this one's put in a top for a long time, it looks like. Maybe even a top for many moons to come. At least a few months to come. I think this one's going to be coming down to like $13 in the next few months. Certainly don't love it long term. In the short term, I actually don't hate it because you do have this higher low here at 616, but it's a big fucking range, and I think you just hit the top side of the range, so you're coming back down to at least the middle. Asti's back. She's looking at NNE, looking for entry. Fat finger. What do you mean? NNE, nano nuclear. Maybe you meant on the last one. I would be a lot less optimistic about this one than I would about the last one, to be honest. But if you're looking for a long-term entry, I mean, I guess if I had to put a position together in the more recent or in the more near future, I'd probably be looking at around $32. Again, looking at the last low right here on the price action pivot indicator at 27.87 as the invalidation, meaning that, you know, as long as you're above there, you can treat it as an uptrend and this thing's likely to continue. Second that you come back down below there, the trend is no longer your friend to the upside, at least. So to be honest, if that low gets taken out, I'd be looking for this thing to come all the way back down to like $16. And I don't even know if you want to buy it there, just to be super fucking blunt with you. Like I wouldn't, but hey, it's your money. When I look at the quarterly, I think that this one has topped out for a long time. I think this one's done. Too many rejections right here. It had its chance. Too many rejections. Anyways, one moment. What are you laughing at? Like, what's so fucking funny? I know. Caretaker is legitimately one of the most funny people I know. So fucking dry, too. Like, so fucking dry. It's great. McDonald's House says, if you have time, the Stonk Hal on... Is this Halliburton? Is this Halliburton? No. Hindused? No. Wait, what? Is this on... Okay. Oh, yeah, it is Halliburton. Okay, yeah, it is Halliburton. Jesus Christ, man. I am losing my fucking brain. Daily time frame. Let's first actually go up just to see. This is some oil shit. I really dislike oil stuff, man. I do not have a good relationship with oil stocks. I just don't think TA works that well on this stuff. Not even like trend is that useful on it. God, I don't even want to give you an opinion on it because I don't think that I'd really hold to anything. But if I absolutely had to, it would be a little bit more up towards 31 to $32, somewhere in this pocket right here. Is this thing bullish long term? I don't fucking know. Is it bearish long term? I don't fucking know. But I do think you have an extension of this move somewhere around 31 to $32. Sorry, let's say 30 and a half to 31 and a half. Something like that, I think would be a high probability move in the next, like, I don't know, three to 5 months, hopefully sooner, in that time frame than later. But yeah, man, I really don't have good opinions on oil, man. I really don't like it. As far as analysis go, I have a lot of PTSD with the shit. But if I had to call it, I do think you'll go somewhere up here and then probably reject from there. But again, I don't trust it that much. I really don't. And I always want to be super transparent when I just do not feel confident about shit. Anyways, Douche says, I actually lost a shit ton of money on Arweave. I went all in at $38 and got completely destroyed. That's when I stopped watching the Banner Boys. I got so much hate when I was talking shit about Arweave, on their streams like a couple of years ago. Like, I always remember that. I don't know why. It must have really affected me. But anyways, Cloud Abusi says, LLOY on London Stock Exchange. Okay. LLOY, Lloyd's Bank Group. All right. On the English Shitcoin Exchange. And, well, it is breaking its consolidation range. So there is that. Or is it breaking the consolidation range? It is right now, but it's still a long month left to go. But it looks like it very likely will finish above there. Yeah, I think it will. But officially, you want to see it close above about $89.50 by the end of this month. And at that point, this thing actually might go for a real run towards 130 to 140. I kind of feel dirty even talking about price action that high, but that's an if statement. That's an if it closes above, let's just call it $90, make it a nice round even number. Then yeah, I'd actually be bullish over the next few months if that were to happen. In the meantime, you are on higher term time frames, okay? I actually do think this one's more likely to rip from here. I genuinely do think so. The reason why I think so is because you got hidden bullish divergence signals on your weekly time frame alongside rising volatility, and the monthly is right at a breaking point here too. And the monthly, is more or less okay. It's kind of what you expect on potential break. So I think that this one actually, this one has a legitimate potential to break to the upside and put in like a pretty big move to the upside as well. Something like that, man. Rishan says, can you get Fibbo Swanee on, bro? Yeah, man, I'll just force him to come back on, you know, whenever you want, sir. No, man, look, he comes when he wants to, but at the same time, yeah, we will do a video with him next week. But I can tell that Swanee's like, he's a little bit pissed off sometimes when people, you know, ask these sort of things. It's just like, I don't know. Anyways. Let's see. Real G. I've heard about Real G's. Real motherfucking G's, actually. And you were asking, GM Krown, what's up, man? Hope all is well. Thank you. I hope all is well with you as well. Can you check ZANO? This is a real thing. Am I being fucking trolled with ZANO Zcash? No, it's a real thing. It's my first time ever looking at it, I think. It actually has been around for a decent amount of time and actually does have really good history. And we're talking about an asset that's been around since basically 2024. Honestly, not bad here. Honestly, not bad. If you're on the daily, I do look at it as a consolidation range, but I would have a bullish bias on it. You are seemingly riding beautifully above that white 200 simple, putting in the higher lows above there. So I'd be respectful of it as long as you're doing that. Maybe more or less having a bullish bias as long as you hold this range, especially above the 200 simple, which is 1135. Yeah, I actually think that you're going to make another try towards $15.50. But again, I don't know what this thing is. You know, it always kind of makes me a little bit skeptical when I see some random shitcoin that I've never seen before, like doing well. But hey, even the weekly has hidden bullish divergence on a phantom drive right here. Yeah, if I have to have an opinion on this, it's going to be to the up. It's going to be to the upside. But still, it is a range, to be fair, as long as you're below 1532 and above 10.5 bucks. But I do have a bullish bias on this, to be honest, just based off of the technicals. And if you can actually break above 1532.5 on a daily closing basis, you know, you should retest your prior all-time high after that and probably make new all-time highs. I think that this thing would actually be ready to really run to like go on a real run. That'd be very, very, very impressive. So yeah, congrats to you for like finding one of the only shitcoins that we've seen today that actually looks genuinely different than everything else. Besides Zcash, Zcash is in its own lane right now. It's the Xanos, Timos. Oh, you were looking at it versus Bitcoin? All right, we can do ZANO versus Bitcoin, I guess. Probably not going to be as good, but still pretty good. To be fair, like pretty fucking good. Just need to see this week close back above, what is it, 13,500 Satoshis. This high right here, the swing high from late September. If you can do that, I'd be looking for this one to pop back up towards your September highs of 16,000 Satoshis. And at that point, I do think that you are also ready to continue on with the real rally. And, you know, 20,000 Satoshis becomes like a real high probability likelihood, in my opinion. You know, you got a higher low right here. I mean, the RSI is, you know, very, very muted right now for something that has been consolidating for a long time. This is a bullish bias. This is good. This is like actually good. Like I said, though, the problem with shitcoins is that they can turn around at a moment's notice, but this one actually does have about 2 years of decent history, even versus Bitcoin. So I respect it. But just need to see weekly close. Again, weekly needs to close above, daily needs to close above 13,850 Satoshis, 13,850 Satoshis, or weekly above 13,550 Satoshis. One of those two would constitute a range break to the upside to me. Until then, it's still a range between 13,550 to the upside versus your lows here at 10,000 to the downside. Something like that. Yeah, definitely put all of your portfolio into it. Margin your margins and longs your longs, and take out all the loans that you can. Definitely don't use a stop loss as well. Kidding as always. Anyways, see what else we got. Dave W says, can you look at LAC? Sure. Is this stock or? I'm guessing it's stock. Lithium Americas Corporation. All right. See what it is. Not looking too hot in the short term, but probably is good for a bounce here at 450. You know, could bounce easily to like 5.5, maybe 575. Long term, terrible, like god awful. I don't even know if I'd want to play a bounce because this thing is a tremendous failure. But yeah, short term probably does try a bounce. After that, I'd be looking for it to fall apart again. Pretty bad long term. You want to look at Cardano? We can look at Cardano. Haven't looked at this one for a long time, I feel like. Very long time. I imagine it's also failing as well. Oh, what do you know? Back down to these 55-cent lows. I have to say, the Cardano people are some of the most rude and mean ones. They are tied neck and neck with the Hex and Pulse Chain people. I don't know which one is just the more egregiously just mean, just fucking mean. Talk shit about your Cardano tokens and, oh man, you better wish you didn't. Crazy shit, but I guess they're just mad because, well, look at the chart. Anyways, yeah, shitcoins will be shitcoins, right? Not even bouncing, whereas a lot of these other things are. But then again, you know, is this thing going to bounce? Probably going to try for a bounce here if everything else is as well. Just overall, it's bearish. Overall, it's ugly. I think best case to the upside, you know, maybe like 65 cents. If it even bounced to begin with. I don't know. You know, do I think this thing's going to break down from 50 cents? You know, the same range that has been holding up since November 2024 without another bounce here. It's just better to be betting on the bounce until proven otherwise. You know, at some point probably will fill that wick from October 10th, but there might be a bounce in between there. I mean, shit, what if it bounced up all the way to like 75 cents? Doesn't even do anything for it. It's bearish as long as you're below 96 cents. So theoretically it could. It's a 50% fucking bounce and then crash down. Maybe just crash down from here. I don't fucking know. At some point, I do think it will get back down around here. It's just what sort of route does it take? Same question as Bitcoin. It's like, I don't fucking know. I don't know, man. Government bought 10% of LAC. What's that? Man. Even the government sucks at investing. Holy shit. Trump needs a better TA analyst autistic correspondent in the White House. Because Cardano is king. Yeah, totally. It's a great chart, man. It's totally king. Fucking shitcoin landia. I believe you. I believe you. Like I say, though, here's one thing I can assure you of. If you ever start a YouTube channel and look at shitcoins for years upon years upon years, you will lose faith in humanity that despite all of the overwhelming evidence that someone's shitcoin is indeed a shitcoin, there will still be someone who believes in it. Probably even multiple people who believe in it. They will believe in it so much that they will even go out of their way to make a comment on YouTube about it. It's impressive. It's very impressive. Lil Baller says, Krown, do you review people's indicators? No, I don't. I don't, man. Backtest Boogie says, King of absolute AIDS in the eyes. Actually, yes. IT guy says, that's funny. I finally sold my Cardano and all of the shitcoins last week for Bitcoin because of your insight. I'm not saying that it was maybe the best time to sell it. You know, these things can bounce, of course, but long term, yeah, I just think that these are losers as investments, man. One of my main messages for this channel that's been absolutely consistent for the past 8 years is holding shitcoins, holding anything besides Bitcoin for more than a few years is almost always going to lose you money. Every once in a while, you will see a shitcoin that will actually make new highs from cycle to cycle, but it is so few and far between. It's not even worth, in my opinion, acknowledging. But yeah. Krown, I'll take that as financial advice. Thanks. Also, the full moon promised me my people. Wait, what? The full moon promised my people a short squeeze 3,000 years ago? Yes. And what were you trading? Like Mayan corns? I don't fucking know. Have we looked at Zcash, sir? No, but we've looked at Zercash a few times. We've also looked at Zimcash. So if you want to look at those, just scroll back about 20 minutes. We can also see Zer, and Zim. What's up, Backtest Boogie? Greetings and morning to you as well, ma'am. You want to look at ETHA? This is a new one. ETHA? Is this a crypto? Oh, it's okay. It's a Ethereum ETF. Yeah, it appears that just because you're an ETF does not mean that people are actually interested in it. Not great, man. Look, I'm always gonna generally be biased towards a bounce off of a major moving average like this. It's kind of getting respected right now, but I don't know, man. Even if it bounces here, I'm not a big fan of this. You know, it could bounce up a lot though. I guess, you know, 25, 26, 27, 28, somewhere here, and then down. Do I think it's just going to crash below here? Probably not. Probably does get a bounce off of this first. So yeah. Yeah, pretty sad compared to Bitcoin's ETF. Like very sad. Like compare that with this. These two things are not the same. Is Ethereum a shitcoin now? I think it's safe to say Ethereum is indeed a shitcoin. If you make a new ultimate high by less than 200% from, or sorry, by less than 2% from cycle to cycle. Let me just double check that this is indeed true. Yeah, 181. That would be my definition of a shitcoin. Or you don't even necessarily need to say that it's shitcoin. It's just it's a bad investment. It's a bad fucking investment. Like, it's a bad fucking investment. Got to be able to beat Bitcoin. And one thing that Ethereum has not done for a very long time is beat Bitcoin. This is my problem with Ethereum. Like this chart right here. It's a big fucking problem. It's a big fucking problem. Very bad. Teo Franetovic says, hello, do you think tech is important in crypto, or is just all temporary hype to grab money and then move on to the new hype? No. No, don't be silly. Of course, man. We're all here for the technology, bro. I'm so excited about this technology. I can't wait to get my hands on this technology. Oh, man! I'm going to be using this technology all day. I can't wait! Yeah, I'm gonna be using my tokens, my technology tokens, bro. Can't wait. Biff the Bear says, Rose, 1 week. It's a privacy coin and ready for October. Oh yes, the technology coins. Can't wait. Can't wait to get my hands on this tech. Yeah, great investment, bro. I'm longing my longs right now. Are Solana and Link both cooked? I'm cooked! I'm so cooked! I'm cucked is what I am. Solana. Wow! Amazing! Holy fucking shit! Incredible! Down 42% from the highs. Can't wait to use the tech, bro! I'm using the Solana tokens for the technology, bro! I love tech, bro. My tech tokens will make me rich. Wait, no, I'm here for the technology, not for the money, okay? We're not talking about money. Money bad, okay? Technology good. We love the tech. The tech's very, very good. That means price goes up, right? 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 But the tech. Hold on, guys. So, okay, now I might be wrong. All right, look, I love the work that the Solana team is doing. They're doing great. Keep it up, guys. You're doing a great job, Solana team. But I'm just wondering, is there any news coming out soon about the technology improving? Because I really need the token price to go up. Are you toned down? Can you tone down those annoying screams? GFC, my eardrums bleeding. Stop whining and fist yourself.
I toned it down.
Sounds like someone needs some tech tokens. There's probably a token for that on the blockchain. I don't know. Maybe turn your fucking volume down, you lobotomized moron. Holy shit. It's amazing. Nobody cares. 424 says RDW defense stock. Find a base at $5 likely, or would you look lower? I don't know. Let's see. I'm generally a fan of defense technology stocks, but not of this one. No, I do not like this. I do not like this at all. I do not like this at all, man. Most of the defense technology stocks just put in like parabolic blow off tops in the last month. This thing has been making lower highs since fucking February of this year. That's not good. As a long-term investment, I really would not like it. Now, hey, if you have inside information about some technology that they might be having soon, which actually would matter in this case, then maybe that could be a good play. But as far as charts go, no, I'm looking for this one to go down and down and down and down more. I don't think it's going to be popping back up towards this high anytime soon, man. That ship has sailed. What else do we have? Did he say tech? Use the F word, bro. It's super redacted. Fundamentals. He's reading my mind. The fundamentals. Fundamentals and technology. Two sides of the same coin. My technology. That's right, guys. We're actually here for the technology. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that chart, RDW. I just put it bluntly, man. Nbamo says, check out SLNH stonk. Okay. SLNH. Soluna? Is this like Solana? Is it actually supposed to be Solana? Well, it would make sense because going down only. You might see a short-term bounce attempt off of the daily 55 here, but this is, I don't think this thing's ever going back above the October highs, man. So whether it bounces here or not, I think is irrelevant. I think long-term, if you fast forward a couple of years or even less than that, you know, you're going to be back down at $1 or underneath there. This is terrible. But the technology is improving, so maybe there's a shot. Yeah, literally down only since 2000, so it's lived through many a bull markets and has only failed. So that's a good sign, I guess. That's what we like to do, is just why make money investing when you can lose money? It's way better. When Z crash, I want to short it. Yeah, a lot of people want to know the same thing, man. But like I said, I'm not standing in front of that train until I see something resembling a blow off top. It'll happen. Undoubtedly it'll happen, but I ain't trying to front run that shit, man. Good luck with that. Let's see. Master of Whispers says, Krown, can you please give us your thoughts on GME, GameStop? It's at macro support. Oh, baby. Yes, macro fundamentals are pretty crazy. Their balance sheet is the same value as their market cap, plus they have $3 billion annual revenue. Sounds great, man. Let's look at the chart, though. Sir? Yeah, if you love it at $21, you're going to absolutely love it at $13 because that's where this thing's going. Like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely fucking not. Holy shit. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. How do you feel about Rocket Labs, RKLB? I don't know. Is it a real stock? It is a real stock. I think you found a top for a while. I think you found a top for a very long time, in fact. I think this thing's going to come down to 33, 34 bucks in the I don't know, 3 to 6 months. I think you found a high for a long time. There's going to be bounces along the way, so don't hit me when that happens. But long term, this one's blown off its top for a while. You even have bearish divergence on the monthly time frame. So yeah, I'm looking towards the low 30s. But that's going to take a long time to play out, man. It's going to take a long time and a lot of patience, which makes analysis very difficult generally. Anyways, Bang Manny says, hey, Krown, can you have a look at YFI coin? Is it a good buy? I literally have no idea what the fuck you're trying to do with it. Are you trying to hold it for 1 hour, 1 day, one month? It's probably not going to be good on any of these timeframes, to be honest. Probably not a good buy at all, because it only goes fucking down. Like, what the fuck? How can someone have a fucking question like this, for the love of God? Like, in all seriousness, it literally goes down only. It literally goes down only. How, in what world, will it ever be a good fucking buy? If you're around in multiple fucking bull marks, you're continuing to make low after low after low after low, while the rest of the market makes high after high after high after high, it's never going to be fucking good. You are playing a game of shitcoin roulette, and you just fucking financially murder yourself. This is garbage. Fucking garbage. Is it a good buy? Hell no. Holy shit. I hope you don't take that personally, but as far as charts go, it's fucking garbage. No, I don't offer any services. I won't trade for you. I won't tell you what to do. I'm not going to construct your portfolio. I give out almost all of my information freely. And then, yes, we do sell indicators, which you can find in the teachable link description below. And yes, I do actually sell a trading course, which incorporates everything that I know about options, about trading, about quantitative analysis, about quantitative trading strategies, about site psychology and long-term trading. But I do not really suggest that many people get into that because honestly, man, most people don't need it. Most people are not going to have the patience to wade through a super fucking long program, to be honest. And like I said, pretty much everything else I give out for free on YouTube anyways. I will tell you on it, like one of my most honest motivations with this channel. Okay, there's very few people listening right now, so I will give you my most honest motivation with this channel. It is entirely egotistical. I love the fact that I give out all of my analysis daily for free to anyone who wants to, tune in and pay attention for, 10 to 15 minutes basically. And I love that I do that because everyone else's business model is to fucking sell their analysis. And I am egotistically motivated to do a better analysis, at least as best as I can do. I'm not always going to be right, okay? No one's ever always right, and I'm certainly not always right. But I can always tell you that I'm always giving my most, I'm giving you my most honest opinions about these things. And I love it when it is better than paid analysis for, pretty much anyone else. That is what I love. That is what it's one of my biggest motivations with this channel, amongst other things as well. Anyways, let's see. Venus. Is it Venus or Venice? Like, I've always wondered, because I've heard girls say both ways. Venice doesn't sound right. Venus sounds great. Venus is a good name. Venice. Venice is a city, but Venus, Venus sounds very exotic. My biggest challenge in trading has been taking profits too early or letting losses runs. Do you take profits based off fibs, patterns, or conviction? Have you been listening to crypto banter or some shit? None of these things. Like, what the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ. Okay, first off, if you're going to trade, you need a goddamn plan set out in advance. It needs to be a plan that is based off of objective indications that define your entry, exit, and risk management. That can be anything that you want to use, but it absolutely must be objective. I prefer to use indicators and indicator values because it's very difficult to argue against those, because one is always going to be equal to one. Whereas if you're going off of, horizontal lines or diagonal lines, you're never going to fucking know. Okay. You're never going to fucking know because you're going to panic in the moment because it's all subjective. So we need objective things. Once you've actually constructed a strategy, then you back test it and figure out if it actually fucking works. Once you've done that, then you don't need to ask these questions any longer because you will have the answer already. And what this sort of question tells me is that you are the kind of person, like most people, okay? I'm not trying to pick on you right now because honestly, everyone thinks like this when they first get into trading. I know that I did as well. You think that you need to buy the ultimate low and sell the ultimate high in order to be a good trader or investor, and you don't. You just need to be consistently capturing moves in a profitable manner that outweighs the natural losses that you will take over time, which can give you a positive equity curve. That's what matters. That's why I focus on stuff that is related around the quantum wave bands or quant prime, because it forces you to create a closed loop system. You have to define your entry, exit, and risk management with objective indications, and then you get the backtesting results, and then you get the actual answer in front of your face. Everyone's going to be different. I can't give you an answer because all of our preferences for trading will be different. Maybe you want to trade the 1 minute time frame and scalp it, or maybe you want to do trend trading. I mean, fucking more power to you. I think it's basically impossible with Bitcoin, but hey, go for it. Maybe you want to trade like the daily trend. Maybe you want to be holding for 5-10 years. All of these things are going to massively change around that equation. So the only way you can make something that is particular to yourself is to construct a strategy and backtest it, and then you have the answer. I can only give you some ideas of how to manage that, but the sort of basis, the essence of how to create a strategy is always the same, and it doesn't change. And anyone who says anything else, I can at this point in my career, after doing this for so long, I can guarantee you is I straight up think that they are actually absolutely wrong. They have to be wrong. I cannot find it work any other way. If you do not have that sort of a system going, you can only expect to lose money over a long enough period of time. Yes, you might get lucky every once in a while where you make a little bit of money just because any fucking dumb monkey can throw a dart at a board and get lucky. That happens for sure. But if you want to be consistent long term, you absolutely must, in my experience, put a strategy into that framework with objective indications for your entry, exit, and risk management at minimum. If you can't do that, you shouldn't be fucking trading because you're only going to lose money, unless if you just like to gamble your shit away anyways, which, hey, fair enough if you want to do that. I mean, it's your money. Like, who am I to tell you what to do with it? But yeah, that'd be my take on that. Hopefully you didn't take that too personally. Again, this is this is very common stuff for anyone who's new. I know I did it. I know many other people do it. It's just the way that our human brains are set up, but that does not work in trading. It will not work in trading. I can assure you of that. Anyways, RD says, altcoin Jesus, can you look at SPX 6900? Well, I can. I can't promise you have anything nice to say about it, but let's see. I don't know. I haven't even looked at it, so who knows? Maybe it's great. Well, as you might guess, it is shit. Crazy idea. A literal fucking meme coin with a great community, to be fair. My community! It doesn't matter, man. This one's coming back down to 44 to 45 cents. Coming back down to these lows here. Are there going to be bounces in between? If you're on the short term, maybe. I don't know. I mean, shit, man. If it bounced up to 90 cents, I think that would be a fucking gift from God. I'm not saying it's going to, but look, this thing is significantly bearish as long as you're below the most recent price action pivot lower high, which is 119. That's like a 2x from where you're at right now almost. That's how bad this thing is. You could bounce up all the way here and be bearish as fuck. All the way here. It might even bounce up all the way there. It's possible, but the long term, the direction is down. This thing is done. It's donezo sunzo, as are most things. Most things will never see higher than what they've seen already in this cycle. You can probably apply that statement to, let's say, 98% of shitcoins. But I can assure you that whatever shitcoin you love is the one that doesn't apply to, of course. Kidding, man. Do you feel gay for TA yet? I feel raped for TA. With my ears. Destroying my own ears today. Dumb BTCs. That's a great name. Dumb BTC. Ayusha says, can we use the setups that you present on this channel? There are some setups that I have presented on this channel that, yeah, you can use them, man. But I would also suggest that even if you are going to use them, try to think of ways that you can really make it your own. Because I can provide the sort of basis for like a working, strategy template for you. But I would strongly suggest to you is like take that and then make it your own. Apply things that are more relevant to your preferences, and go from there. And at that point, it becomes your own, man. It becomes your own. Anyways, Krown, you and Landy, I love. Thank you for not being me. Wait, what? Thank you for not being me. Wait, what? And keep it up, banger. Just more about what you love. That's why I'm here. Awesome, man. I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to say, but I love you too, sir. What's up, Peter? Good to see you, man. Good morning to you. Hey, mate, from Australia. What's up, man? Can you give me a read on Bitcoin for the next 4 hours? So, what do I think is going to happen in the next 4 hours for Bitcoin? Well, let me get out my crystal ball. I don't fucking know, man. Fuck if I know. The short term is very, very difficult right now for me on Bitcoin. I think it could bounce here. I still think it's a little more likely to try a bounce here. I don't know about in the next 4 hours if you're putting a timer on it. I don't know about that. But I still think that overall, whether Bitcoin bounces here or not, I think if we fast forward about a month out from now, I think that we will at some point see Bitcoin lower than what we've already seen this past week. So, yeah. Frackman says, GM, sir, so bottom is in then. When 500,000? Bro, you said full moon is bull moon. That's right. It's never failed. It's never failed 54% of the time. Or sorry, 45% of the time. God damn, my dyslexia really is a massive issue. How can you fix dyslexia? Is there a solution for dyslexia? I wonder if there is. Let me ask chat right now. I need to know the answer. I need I actually probably need a real lobotomy. Is there a cure for dyslexia? I don't think I was always this dyslexic though, but it's just gotten worse as I've gotten older. Probably not a good sign. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Well, right now it's taking a long time, so that's not a good sign. It says there isn't a cure for dyslexia. Damn it. Well, fuck. Yeah. All right. Well, whatever. I guess I'll just live with it. Life goes on. I've always wondered if I'm retarded, and I think now I just got the answer. I actually am. And I guess everyone's just been nice to me my whole life, and I just actually am retarded. Oh well. I guess it doesn't really matter. I mean, if people are nice to me anyways, like who cares? Who cares? Anyways, based on Ethereum's terrible performance compared to Bitcoin this cycle, do you think it's top for forever? I don't know about top for forever. But I just don't think I just think it's proven itself as not a good performer. It's like, as in, it's not a good investment. Web Pharaoh says, how can I find out more about Bybit? And it says restricted IP. Well, you probably shouldn't be using it if it says restricted IP. I'm guessing you're probably from one of the unsafe countries. There are other options. I do have a link in the description for Blofin. The Blofin link will actually get you some pretty significant fee discounts, meaning that you just pay less to actually trade compared to other exchanges, which is actually very, very significant. Most of these exchanges don't offer fee discounts anymore. Blofin does not require KYC. You will probably need to use a VPN in order to, if you are from one of the unallowed, unsafe countries, but you can use it. They don't require KYC, and that's what I think most people are using right now. And Blofin has actually proven themselves at this point, in my opinion, to be like probably the next best option to Bybit. Bybit is always going to be the best option if you can actually use Bybit, but if you can't use Bybit, then I think Blofin is the next best one if you want to leverage trade. Do I suggest leverage trading for everyone? Hell no. Most people probably shouldn't be leverage trading, especially if you don't actually have a real working strategy. But if you do, then hey, it is a way to produce some more income. Absolutely. So that's what I'd say about that, man. If you can't use it, basically, if you can't use Bybit, use Blofin. None of them are going to be perfect, to be honest, but that'll be the next best option. Dyslexia fixes mushrooms, but not at the same time. You mean the mushrooms won't fix it at the same time, or you have to wait afterwards, or? Yeah, I think mushrooms gave me dyslexia. I think that's what actually happened. I think it's possible. What else do we have here? I guess we'll go for a few more. Monero flipping Bitcoin this week, says Frackman. I don't think Monero's seen I would have expected Monero to be doing what Zcash is doing. But let's see. Is Monero actually... I mean, it's probably not going to be flipping Bitcoin, but is it going to go up here? I actually do think that it has some upside from here. This one's in a much better position to do something like Zcash than some of the other privacy tokens with their amazing technology. What else do we have? I used to work a lot with children as applied kinesiologist with dyslexia, edu-kinesiology, it's called, before I moved on to something new. Yeah, actually, I remember when I was like really, really young, I had to go to a speech pathologist. So I really am. It's kind of crazy, but yeah. Anyways. Damn, this is going lower, says Asian Massage. What's going lower? Yeah, Bybit's not going to even let you do it with a VPN because they're going to require you to KYC, and they're going to figure out that you're not from one of the allowed countries. So I wouldn't do it. But yes, Bybit is the best option if you can use Bybit. My link will still get you some pretty good stuff as well. Blofin's going to be the next best option for pretty much anyone else. They don't require VPN, or sorry, they don't require KYC, but they do require VPN. So there is that. But yeah. Anyways. Use regular. Oh yeah, if you're from New Jersey, yeah, you can't. You'll have to use a VPN, and you can do something like Blofin, I guess. But that's up to you, man. That's up to you. Anyways, Blofin is pronounced Blofin. Got it. Aisha says, what would you do if you have a bag of shitcoins that is down 50%? Will you sell them now? Look, do I think selling them right now is going to be the best time to sell them? Do I think that they might have a bounce? At some point that might bring them higher than where they're at right now. It's possible, yeah, but at the same time, I would rather just reset myself in these cases, because the best time to sell them was yesterday. The second best time to sell them is now, basically. Long term, the longer that you hold them, the more and more they're going to go down. Yes, you might get lucky with catching a popcorn rally. Who knows if that popcorn rally happens, so much later in the future that basically the popcorn rally brings you up to where you're at right now, and then you're basically, just wasting your time. That's kind of my point, man. Blofin is blocked. Again, you have to use a VPN if you're going to be using these sort of things, but I don't know. If you can't figure that out, man, then, well, probably shouldn't be doing it. Probably also shouldn't. I mean, like, if you are from a restricted country, you probably shouldn't be using it anyways, but yeah, it's up to you. I'm not going to be your fucking dad in that. I'm not going to be your dad in that scenario. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, man. How do you feel about Blumpkins? That was a very popular thing about 15 years ago. Haven't heard that word in a long time, man. I don't know. It's very difficult for most people, myself included, to get a hard penis while also taking a shit. So I'm not that much of a fan of them. You didn't know what it is?
No, I have no idea. I don't know.
It's exactly that. I just told you. Dustin Time says Palantir long term. Let's see. Holy shit, is this thing finally going to come down? Oh my God. It's actually coming down. 1, 2, 3, 4 drives of bearish divergence on the weekly. Yeah, I think it's going to come down to 165 to 170. I believe that's what we said on Monday. Probably a bounce attempt there, but I personally hope that this one actually has topped for a while and comes down significantly, so I can actually buy a bigger position. Yeah. All right, cool. I think we shall end things on that note. We are over 2 hours on this stream. It's been a nice little lovely stream here on a Friday afternoon, early afternoon, I suppose. We shall be back on Monday with another live stream analysis. And over the weekend, I'm going to do my best to release another financial education, financial history video. But like I said, it's got to be ready, and it'll be ready when it's ready. I think I might be able to crank it out tomorrow. We shall see. And if it is, I will release it. If not, then I will not. And we shall go from there. As always, I wish everyone who is watching right now the best of the best. We shall reconvene soon enough. And until then, take care, much love, and see you hopefully on Monday.